Welcome to Rage Against the Regime Radio, where status quo gets taken to task. With your host, Bobby Who's Demand. Don't be a stranger. Give us a call at 929-477-3565 or contact us at rageagainsttheregimepodcast@gmail.com or on our Twitter at RATR Podcast. And please like our Facebook page. On with the show. Here's Bobby.
Welcome to Rage Against the Regime Radio, and I'm your host, Bobby Who's the Man. I just wanted to step in here and do a show. There's been a lot of news happening today. A lot of different outlets bringing different angles, and I wanted to bring my own angle. Becky broke the news this morning about Cliven Bundy being arrested. She also put out an alert that the 4 people at the refuge were arrested because the local media in her area was saying that they had been arrested when in all actuality they had not been arrested yet. There was a confusion. It wasn't on Becky's part. It was on the media, mainstream media part in her area. She had woke up to that, saw that news. She wanted to get right on the air and bring it to everybody. So that's exactly what happened. But unfortunately, that was not the case. So Becky tried to clean it up the best that she could. No fault of her own. It's mainstream media's fault for sharing bad information. They do it quite often, and if we feed into it and we go with it, we kind of get stuck, so no big deal. But a couple things of note. The feds have been going around arresting people today. Cliven Bundy was arrested. That was actually, I believe, last night. What he's being arrested for is mainly for the incidents that happened at the Bundy Ranch. They're also getting him on a weapons charge. They're getting him on an assault charge. And they're also getting him on a conspiracy charge and a charge of not allowing a federal officer to do their job. Now, I kind of already knew that was going to happen. I've been saying ever since Bundy Ranch happened that there's no way that the feds were just going to go ahead and stand down, allow everybody to think that they beat them and, that they were going to walk away unscathed. Okay? Now, I wasn't saying it because I wanted it to happen. I was saying it because I felt that was going to be the case. Okay? Then this morning, we had, last night, the feds went to refuge. They went in there to try to pull the kids out, like we were saying, like I was talking about it a minute ago. And Michelle Fiore was on her way there with Franklin Graham. They were supposed to be meeting them this morning so they can go turn themselves in and everything. And the feds, FBI figured that they were going to go in last night and not give them a chance to be turned in with Michelle Fiore and with Franklin Graham, Reverend Franklin Graham. And the bad thing about that is, they already had it all planned out, and, they wanted to go in with a person of both of their stature, pretty much. And, they felt safe to be able to go in with them. And then, of course, with the FBI, trying to pull the move that they tried to pull last night with the MRAPs and everything else. Well, Michelle made some phone calls and, got one of the FBI directors to agree to stand down until this morning and let the people do what they said that they would do. Okay? Sean and his wife and, I don't remember all their names. I believe it was Jeff and then, of course, Mr. Fry, David Fry. We're going to get to him in a second. So, Michelle on the phone, I listened to the whole thing. Thank you to Gavin Symes. Great job, sir. I completely applaud you. And, you and your brother did excellent work. You guys covered this unbelievably. Okay? So I was listening to Gavin Symes streaming, and the whole thing, Michelle saying that she's on her way, and that, the Reverend was with, and that they were in a vehicle with 3 FBI agents, so on and so forth. So then once they got there, they were explaining, this is where we're at on the road, so on and so forth. And of course, Sean, was very familiar with the area, being there for as long as they have. So, they all start coming out one by one, the wife first, then Sean, then, So, it gets to David Fry, and I gotta be honest, I've been watching his videos the last couple weeks, and he's very, very knowledgeable when it comes to a lot of things that are going on that are questionable, immunizations, the whole abortion issues, stuff going on in other countries. I mean, he's very, very knowledgeable. Okay, you could tell he's very, very knowledgeable, knows what's going on. So now, he is, everybody else goes outside, and all of a sudden it's his turn to come out. And after watching his videos and hearing what he was saying and the things that he was talking about, I have to be 100% honest with you right now. I knew that he was not coming out. Okay? I knew that he was not going to come. I didn't know that, how long he would hold off. I kind of figured that he would have held off until they got him. He already said more than once in other videos and stuff that, he doesn't care. He's going to go out in a blaze of glory pretty much. And, he wasn't going to allow them to take him in and face charges of things that he did not do. It was not going to live his life like that. And, he said if he has to, he'll die. And he said more than one time that he would commit suicide if he had to, and so forth. Okay? And all bad stuff. Okay? I mean, nobody really wanted to hear, how bad the man really felt inside, because he was really, really hurting. Okay? And you know what? I give him a lot of credit. He stood his ground. He got his little demand. He wanted a hallelujah. He made the feds say hallelujah. That was awesome. He said that he wanted a pizza, and then he said he wanted to eat a cookie and smoke a cigarette. And smoke his last cigarette before he went to them. And then he finally did come out with no problems and was taken away. But, I mean, I got to be 100% honest here. I mean, like I said, I've been watching his videos all along and seeing by his actions and everything. I already knew that, as soon as the others went out and it was his turn and he was last, I knew he was last for a reason. I already knew it. Nobody said, hey, he's not going to come out. We're all going to come out, but he's not going to come out. They didn't even let anybody know that, and I already knew it. I sensed it. But I'm just glad that it's all over with. Okay? Absolutely glad that it's over with. I'm glad that nobody got hurt that we know of. And I'm glad that it all went down the way that it did. And it seemed like it was very peaceful. And Michelle Fiore, what an awesome woman. Franklin Graham, what can you say about Reverend Graham? I mean, he's very respectable. And, he a lot of respect from a lot of people, from his family lineage, from who his father is and from who he is. And, I respect the man. He took time out of a busy day. He didn't have to go there. He didn't have to do that, but he did. He didn't want to see anybody get, he wanted to see it all come to an end. I mean, was he doing it to get notoriety? You know he did. Okay? Just like Del Fiore. Okay? I'm not trying to talk crap about her, but come on, let's be real about it. She did it for notoriety. Just like anybody else would. Okay? So, it is what it is. But I'm glad that it's over. Now, other things to talk about. Blaine Cooper was with his wife and his kids, just going into the hotel that they were staying at in Utah. And they were there not even 5 minutes, didn't even, get in the door of the office, and they got raided, and Blaine taken away. Didn't even get a chance to say goodbye to Melissa or to his 2 kids, and was hauled off. Now, I have to be really, really honest here. That's the news story that's going around, and there was no warrant, supposedly, and he was arrested. Now, I don't know if I really believe that story. I know it's really going to sound bad on my part, and I don't mean no disrespect to anybody, but with all the information and misinformation that's going around right now, how do you know to believe that story? I mean, a lot of people right now have Blaine Cooper pegged as a fed op, as a trick, as a lot of different things. I don't know what to believe. I have to be 100% honest with you. I mean, there's a great chance that he is in custody and that he's facing the charges just like everybody else. But I don't know if it's true. So, we'll find out here. Just like the whole thing with Pete Santilli, I don't believe the whole story of that. I'm going to tell you why. I have went back on the video of where him and Deb and Kenny the Orange Hat Man, Ben Time Traveler, was in the back seat. And this is when the night that Lavoy Finicum had got killed. And they were driving around, and Pete Santilli went out of his way to go find some feds. Okay? He pulled up to them. They had the camera rolling the whole time. Came pulling up. He got out. He went and talked to them for about 10 minutes. All the while, Deb and Kenny were talking. They were having a conversation amongst themselves. The camera was pointed in the direction where Pete was standing and talking to the feds for about 10 minutes. When he got there, nobody was in a defensive posture. Nobody was like, oh, there's one of the guys we want to arrest. There's Pete Santilli. Let's get him. Every one of those guys knew who he was. When he got there, if they were looking for him or if they wanted to arrest him, don't you think that they would have been like, hey, there he is. Let's get him, everybody, or whatever? They would have went about that completely different. Okay? Completely different. So 10 minutes goes by, all of a sudden, the feds come back to the car with Pete and tell everybody, we're going to arrest him. Everybody get out of the car. We need to search car, this, that, whatever. And, so on and so forth. But Pete is going to jail. Well, he was standing there talking to them for like 10 minutes. And the reason why he said that he was looking for them is that he wanted to be able to go ask them permission to be able to go back to the refuge to get all the women and children out of there and tell everybody to go home. Pete said more than one time in the video, it's over with. I don't care. I'm telling everybody to go. So, I mean, I think, I kind of think that whole thing was set up. I think that they knew that the cameras were rolling and they wanted to make it look good. And I also have to be honest, he's doing these recordings and sending them to Deb, and she's recording them over the phone or whatever, and they're playing it on the air, asking for donations and, sharing information and saying, I'm going to be louder and this and that. We got to be against the government and so on and so forth. I hate to tell you, but I really don't think that they would want that message to get out. And I think that they would probably stop the audio and not allow it to hit the air. Especially the type of message that he was bringing. Look, and my mind is kind of in this direction from all of the information that has come out about Pete and all of the supposed information and documents and, this and that. I mean, there is a lot of evidence that points in Pete's direction of him being a Fed op. Now, one thing that kind of holds me back from it a little bit is Bob Powell from The Truth is Viral. I consider Bob to be a friend. I consider him to be a brother. Bob Powell has been through more than any patriot in this movement in the last, we'll say 10 years. His daughter got killed. His wife died of cancer. His mother passed away. And now he's raising Adam, raising his other kids, and, helping out with the grandkids and everything else. Bob Powell is a very, very strong man. He does a hell of a show. He is a great writer. I mean, he's one hell of a man. Okay? I have a lot of respect for Bob Powell. But Bob Powell keeps making it very clear that Pete Santilli is not a Fed op, and that Santilli is, a great guy and this and that. That's what Bob Powell says. But Bob Powell also said that Santilli helped him get, different items and different things, a laptop and a backdrop for his show, and and Pete was going to help him out with some different things and this and that. And that would tell me that his alliance with Pete Santilli, for Pete helping him out and him being part of the Guerrilla Media family, or whatever their name is now, the something News Network, Talk News Network or something. So that's kind of where I get a divide. You know what I mean? From a man that I respect very much, and I respect his opinion, and I respect him as a person more, that he tells me on a daily basis and tells everybody Pete Santilli is not what everybody thinks he is, and he really is what he's trying to portray himself to be. But there's all this evidence and all these that point at Pete Santilli and, faxes and whatever. And hey, you know what? We're in the age right now where documents can be doctored, pictures can be doctored. I mean, give me a break. You can make any document say anything you want it to say. You can have any picture look like anything you want it to look like. Okay? I'm no dummy. We all know this. So I'm divided on that. But I will tell you one person I'm not divided on, and that's O'Shaughnessy. Captain O has been pinned for a long time. Any 3% group or militia that you can think of does not have respect for Captain O. Every one of them has pegged him for what he really is. They say that he has stolen money from their GoFundMes and stuff. Do I know if that's true? I absolutely do not know if that's true. But I do know that a lot of groups say that he is bad news. And I'm going to tell you something. One person that I respect very, very much so has told me that O'Shaughnessy is bad, bad, bad. I do not have to tell you who the person is. You guys can use your imagination. He's incarcerated right now on a charge that, I don't know, is a bad charge. Something that was pretty much doctored. You all know who I'm talking about. And the reason why I don't want to say his name is because he's not here to say, yes, I did that, or no, I didn't say that. So I couldn't prove it if I wanted to. But I guarantee you, he told me O'Shaughnessy is bad. And all the other patriots, 3%ers, and militia guys that I know, every one of them, not one of them has any good to say about O'Shaughnessy. Now, another question that I have is, and it's actually a really good question. When the shot was heard around the world and Lavoy Finicum got killed, so many people before that kept saying, if one person gets hurt up there or one shot, 1 million patriots are going to come marching into Oregon and this and that. The PPN and the Idaho 3%ers, they were supposed to be a buffer. Okay? They weren't there. The patriots never showed up. We never had the 1 million people show up that were supposed to show up once the shot was fired or the first person was injured or whatever. I mean, you know, and what I mean by that is that's what everybody kept saying. If one person gets shot or if one person gets injured or if this or that happens, we're going to go ape shit and we're all going to be there. Well, okay, so they're all gone. Nobody showed up. The 4 people stood their ground. Nobody else showed up. So, I mean, what's it going to take? Now, I have come to the realization and the believing that a lot of militia people and 3%ers and oath keepers and everything else did not want nothing to do with this because the people that were tied to it. And I'm not talking about Ammon Bundy or any of the Bundys. I'm talking about the people that they had themselves surrounded with. Buddha, Lane Cooper, blah, blah, blah. You get what I'm saying. Because a lot of people don't have any trust in any of those guys and never did. So, it outrages me that people sit behind their keyboards and type out all these great things that they're going to do. You know, when this happens or that happens, it's already happened. And nobody ever came. Nobody ever showed up. PPN and Idaho 3%ers never came back and became a buffer. Now, I got to be also honest about Mr. Curtis. He had a lot of ties to the FBI. He was getting phone calls, stuff, and was able to call different people with the FBI. They went and knocked on the FBI's door pretty much to let them know that they're there to make sure that there wasn't going to be any bloodshed and that they had a compromise and this and that. And they came up there with all those cars. And I mean, that was a great video. And him and Mouse and a few others went up there and presented themselves to the FBI and, you know, said, if anything happens, we're going to make sure there's no bloodshed, this and that and whatever. And then as soon as blood was shed, where the hell were they? They never came back. They never came back. So now, all these patriots around the country, everybody's got to be looking at this and going, how serious are people really about this movement? Are people really willing to rise up? I mean, what's it going to take? I mean, nobody wants to see bloodshed. I mean, in the way that they went about that, Ammon Bundy and them anyway, and taking over a federal building, I did not agree with that. Okay? I did not agree with that. I think that it should have been in Washington the whole time. Washington was the place that you needed to bring the fight to. Not anywhere else. Washington, D.C. was the place to be. You can go knock on doors, go to congressmen, senators, so on and so forth. Tell them this is your grievances, this is what you want to be heard, so on and so forth, and in hope that something gets done. Being in Harney County, Oregon, taking over a federal building in a refuge, so on and so forth, is not really going to... I mean, yeah, you're going to be seen, but you're not going to be heard. Okay? I mean, they got heard by a couple people, but was it really the outcome that they wanted? I can answer that for you. No, it wasn't. We all know that. Oh, and another thing that I would like to point out, something else that I wanted to point out about Blaine Cooper and the whole thing that happened. You can't hide from video and from facts and so on and so forth. There's another reason why I even brought up Blaine Cooper's name. On David Fry's video, for those of you that don't know, he had a YouTube page called Defend Your Base. And on there's a video that says, answering Dabu 777's questions. If you go to the 3-minute mark on there, David Fry tells a story of how Blaine Cooper was in his SUV sitting there or whatever, and all of a sudden David Fry's phone rings. He answers the phone, and it's the FBI, and they want to talk to Blaine Cooper. So he hands the phone to Blaine Cooper. Blaine Cooper talks to the FBI. Next thing you know, he's out of there. Gone. Left, gone, whatever. The FBI asked for Blaine Cooper. Now, my whole thing is this. If that's the phone call that Blaine Cooper said that he got, warned him that, the feds were coming in and that they had one chance to leave and that was their chance, how come he didn't tell David Fry and Sean and them? Because they made it very, very clear the last 2 days on Gavin Seam's stream that he was talking to them and asking them questions and everything. They said that nobody even told them. Nobody even told them that they had the offer on the table to get out and leave now, and there would be no consequences. So, if his reply would be, oh yeah, they told me that we had a chance to leave and that was our only chance, well, that wouldn't make any sense then, would it? Because if he told everybody else about it, then why didn't he tell Sean? And why didn't he tell David Fry or Sean's wife or whoever else was there? Doesn't make any sense. So, I'm not here to bury anybody. I'm not here to cause a stir. But, the facts are out there. All you got to do is do research and look, and you might get your answer. I have all the paperwork. It's all been sent to me about the original indictment papers and stuff like that, and, all the paperwork that they've done on these guys and everything else. I sent so much paperwork and stuff like that from people, and I'm just like, I'm kind of tired of seeing it, to be honest with you. If you dig far enough, you'll find a red hole that really has no end to it. And I gotta be honest, I really like finding those rabbit holes. I I really don't. It's scary what you can come up with and what you can find. I'm glad that the whole situation in Oregon is over. I'm glad that the people got out of there safe. I give you people very, very much respect. You guys stood your ground, you held your own, you were no cowards. Okay? You stood there even knowing that there could have been any chance, any day that they came in and got you. And you stood your ground. Bravo. Bravo. You get a standing ovation. I just hope that you guys get a fair trial, and I hope that you got out of here, with no issues and everything else. I have a feeling that you guys are going to get a felony, won't be able to have your weapons anymore, and that would suck. But all right, so that's it. That's all I wanted to cover for now. I mean, I've done a little bit over 3 minutes, and it is what it is, folks. So that's really about it. So until next time, I've been your host, Bobby Who's the Man. And until next time, bye-bye.